Let's do it.
Good morning to all my internet friends.
Oh, man.
It's that time of day again. We're streaming from Patreon. Hello to my VOD friends who are watching the VOD version of this, because you, as you all know by this stage, are watching the stream before we went live, or before you posted the link. I'm gonna post the link, YouTube link. Welcome, friends. It's a real Wednesday GDC live stream kinda morning here in rainy San Francisco. Come say hey, Danny, Jeremy Esteban. Part of it. You blink, boink. Every time I have to go back and read the naming convention for these because I cannot remember. We interviewed an Irish person yesterday and gave me a pack of potatoes, so I'm very happy. Brought in a pack of potatoes. 2 packs actually. One has already been devoured.
It's been destroyed.
Yeah. This is Gen Pop. We need to make sure everyone gets some of that potato goodness. What did you think of the potatoes, Esteban?
Very good. Surprisingly good. Never had it before.
Awesome. Link, select here. That's our 10 event pass friends. Schedule. No. Publish now. Publish now. The GDC. Publish now. Getting faster at this. Okay, and then the last part, as always, trying to find a San Francisco related thumbnail. That's not too obvious.
Not too obvious.
Not too obvious. Can't be too obvious.
Carpooling.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, actually. Carpool, a bridge.
It's just the most on brand you could be would do like Folsom Street Fair. I don't think that's safe for work.
Look at this picture. It's just fast track only, cash fast track. But there's like no cars, so it's like the opposite of what we just experienced.
That's a lie. That's a sight you'll never see.
What's up, Josh Daniels? Welcome. You're first in on this beautiful morning, day of our Lord, March 20th, 2019. 2019. Doesn't feel it. All right, I'm gonna get the tweet out and get the Discord up. I've actually neglected to post this on Discord most mornings. So good morning.
Good morning.
FYI, we are streaming at the moment on Patreon to our patrons. So don't say bollocks or I don't know what's a bad word. Shouldn't say. I don't know. Congratulations on your launch yesterday. Yeah, seems like it was pretty well received. Yeah.
A lot of thought into it. Are you enjoying the week here?
Yeah, it's been great. The lighting's a little bit easier today for Jeremy.
Yeah.
A bit more diffuse.
It's been very harsh lighting, but we're making it work.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, it's been rad. We've like crammed in a bunch of interviews. It's been fun. We've had like a lot of like big names coming in, so it's been like really fun to like see them just like come in and be like, and they get to see this as well. Like, and some of them have been to the other offices, like, and some of them have their own Patreon, so they were kind of like, oh, it's it's cool to see what the new place looks like and all that.
The old place was funky.
Yeah.
Did you ever see it?
We've shot out of the old place 2 years ago. Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's crack. You can't imagine like the amount of people who were here now as well. It must have gotten pretty crazy. Yeah. I'd like to see. I'm happy to see all the instruments and shit still around. Though. That's good.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Keep the flavor. Good luck. Talk to you later. Good morning, everyone. How's San Francisco? This morning, San Francisco is quite rainy. Yeah. Which means the traffic's a bit barmy. But it means for better lighting for Jeremy, as we were just talking to why Patreon all about. Let me get this tweet out. Well, fucking Patreon post. If you have any questions, stick them in the chat. We're hanging out for the next 40 minutes or so. We've been interviewed at 10:30 local time.
I have a question. Do we need 2 first today, or are they all singles?
All singles.
Cool.
Yeah, all singles. No more twofers. Live from our studio in the Patreon offices. We say hey.
Are you grabbing a fake car? Yeah. Are you grabbing one? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
We have peach, apricot, blueberry, and strawberry.
Strawberry, please. Thanks, man.
You want something?
Nah, I'm good. I'll get something in it in a little bit. Might have the patrons come pick my breakfast for me. It's always a good idea.
That is 2019 interactivity.
Why can't I find the picture of the fucking... I thought I saved it right here. The picture from the casual carpool. Where did it go? Where's my casual carpool picture go? I have to look it up again. Or carpool, not casual carpool. I was explaining the concept of casual carpool to Esteban. Have you ever used casual carpool?
No.
It's the one where you get in a random car underneath, right outside the Grand Lake Theatre. There's like a little stop off, and people just like chuck in 2 people into their car so they can get in that lane that we were on.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I remember you told me that you carpooled with randos.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, that was that whole thing.
That's cool.
It was a good time.
Do people pitch in for gas, or is it just like a bunch of super nice?
You kind of chip in $1, but it's mostly for the toll. But half the people I would do it with wouldn't take the money. They'd just be like, "Don't worry about it."
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
All right, let's tweet. The tweet's out, and then the Discord. Let me do the Discord. I've been bad at it getting the Discord up. Let us know where you're at, everyone. Multi Skip Tracer says, best part of your day yesterday. God, it was all such a blur. What was your guys' favorite part of yesterday?
A couple of the interviews were really good. The genital jousting guys were hilarious.
Yeah.
That was super fascinating.
Jetting was it was a totally different interview than I was expecting. I was expecting just to talk about dicks and make dick jokes for the whole thing, but it ended up like being kind of half that and also like a very like reflective conversation about toxic masculinity.
Yeah. That went so deep.
Yeah.
It's really surprising.
Deep, much like a penis does in a butthole.
There we go. That's what
which
we're
is
expecting.
basically what you do in that game most of the time. There was that. Let me have a look and see more. Yeah, the Emily Grace Bucks interview about Telltale was really cool. Oh yeah, so let me tell you what we've got on. We've been live now long enough. There's enough people in here. What's up, everyone? Thanks for hanging out. So today we have 5 interviews. It's our longest day so far. We had 4 the last 2. We have Eka. I believe everyone calls him Eka, but I think it's Chandana Ekanayake. I'm trying to think about the Indian or like subcontinent way of pronouncing that. I guess I'll be told when he comes in. He works on a Falcon Age, which if you've seen any of the GIFs of somebody holding like a falcon on their arm and moving them and the head stays in the same spot, that's his game. It's coming to PlayStation and it's on PSVR. But he did a really good talk at GDC a couple of years back about inclusiveness and representation in games. And I don't know exactly where the game's set. Because it's Falcons, I'm wondering if it's like Bedouin tribes in like the Emirates or something. But he's kind of talks. He wants to speak to representation both in the industry and in the medium as well. So that's going to be a really interesting conversation. After that, we have Jamie Chang from Clay coming in. So that's who made Shank, Market Ninja, all that sort of stuff. But we're mostly talking to them about Don't Starve. So we're going to do a whole thing on Don't Starve, which should be fun. After that, we've got Tina Sanchez in from Respawn, who is a long-time games journalist, survivor like myself. She used to work for IGN, and then she worked for Infinity Ward for 5 years, worked on a bunch of Call of Duty games, moved to Respawn about 18 months ago, and has been working on Apex. And I've been wanting to interview her for years about her work. And this was like the perfect opportunity to do some fun stuff on Apex, because she's been a producer on that since the start. So it's going to be a really fun one. And then we have 2 interviews at the end of the day with 2 people who worked at Telltale, which will be our 2nd and 3rd interviews out of 4 total. Although we have 2 other interviewees who will be asking about it as well. We'll be able to like feed into the story, and that's the 2 of them. So yeah, so it's Apex Legends, Don't Starve, Falcon Age, and 2 ex-Telltale people on today's show. So it should be a lot of fun. Ian James says today's the big hitter interviews. No, Friday's the big one. Friday's the big one, I think. Today's pretty cool. Like, I mean, there's a lot of really fun interviews there. Yesterday was fantastic with genital jousting. The System Shock one was really interesting.
Oh yeah.
And the Half-Life doc screen went well.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Another full house.
Yeah, it was well attended.
mostly people who didn't have a clue who we were, which was a lot of fun.
People clapped, they didn't boo.
People clapped, they didn't boo.
No one threw rotten fruit at us.
No, some people left early, but it was an hour and 50 minutes, so I don't blame them.
Hey, some of them left during the Q&A, so.
That's true. A lot of people left during the Q&A. They were like, "Oh, the Irish guy's going to talk now." That was fun. I was glad it was not the late night one. Could you imagine if we didn't get home until 10? Yeah, I was shattered. Yeah, totally. We were all very tired last night. So today we're done. Today it's all pretty compact. It's 5 interviews, but we're done at 4. And the awards are on tonight. And I went to the awards once. I was backstage interviewing people for GameSpot 4 or 5 years ago. But I'd never sat in the audience. And I was going to do it this year, but the same thing happens. Same with the parties. Every year I'm just so tired after the day's work that I just don't. Or it's not even that. It's that if I know if I went out, like imagine coming in this morning and not have enough sleep, maybe hungover. So half the reason I get the rental car is like, then I don't even.
Right, you can't even do it.
Can't even do it. I'd have to go back with the car, take Bart in, like fucking, or an Uber, like none of that's
It's an alcohol chastity belt.
Totally, yeah. Not a booze chastity belt. Booze belt. Although you lose the chastity part then, which is the most important part. Yeah. Then it just sounds like you're holding up your pants with alcohol.
Yeah, like it's like beer bottle or.
Yeah, that sounds like yeah.
Just stock like you're a plumber
right.
with tools.
Yeah, that sounds not great. Sorry, there's lots of questions coming in. Any reaction to the Google Stadia announcement? It sounds like it's the buzz of GDC. Wonder if you've all stuff on it. Yeah, so when we were here, people were here talking to us, but hearing information about it. Here, I'm trying to get this stupid window to not blast light. So I don't know. We've not been at GDC enough to really get a sense of it. When we walked down earlier, there's a lot of Google stuff around. Like the portals were everywhere. It sounds like just from GDC people seeing my GDC friends on Twitter, that's the big scuttlebutt about it. But it's also like kind of an quantity. Like I was talking to people in the days before GDC, and everything it kind of is like everyone was hearing that it was like a 4K 60 is what they were going to try and do, and that it was cloud streaming, that there's going to be some YouTube integration. So I watched the presentation last night. I watched the Giant Bomb one as well.
Yeah, that's very good.
Which I didn't know about. Esteban put me onto. Yeah, and I tweeted out some personal thoughts I have about the whole thing. Like it's kind of a known quantity. What's really interesting actually is that one of the ladies here, she was out doing the presentation yesterday morning. She's like, I believe she's their head of not product. She's the head of one aspect of it. She was one of the people who put OnLive together, which was that old micro console. Yeah, because it came up in our when I had a meeting with them back in New York a couple of months ago. And I was like, I still have my OnLive. I still have a boxed OnLive.
It worked. I never used
it. It worked well. It worked, but it was like it felt like you were streaming video games 6 years ago. Yeah. So like the fidelity wasn't there, and the latency was a problem. So it like worked. It was just like infrastructure had to catch up with it, tech had to catch up with it. But, so it seems like they're the right people to do it. Google are, but like also, it's kind of there's this fallacy about like higher resolution is causing loads of problems for developers. Like it's not like it's killed mid-tier development almost entirely. Like there are no big budget. The only like big budget AAA game that has come out from a studio that is not an established isn't funded by an established like console manufacturer, say in the case of like God of War or Spider-Man or The Last of Us, or has like a decent third-party publisher behind it. The only one I can think of is The Witcher, and the only reason that happens is because in Poland they pay people in zlotys, and they earn money in USD and euros. So like they have a financial cost of employing that many people is not so much of a big deal in Warsaw as it is in Berlin down the road. So like the economies of like games production with all the outsourcing and all that sort of stuff. And the size of art teams and the inability to pivot when you're making that much art because you've got this like the pipeline is just like is so weighed down by art that like the fucking last thing we need is 8K resolution games. Like 4K is already like killing loads of like aspects of the work. So I don't know. It's in Google's best interest to make the processing power the biggest focus of games, but like the only situation I can see where like that type of thing has really benefited people, like processing power has opened up new genres, is the whole battle royale thing, because that wasn't popular or wasn't possible 5 years ago. So there are like gameplay things that could change. Thanks, Jeremy. Yeah, you can close that doors at me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm weird. I feel weird about that thing. What's up, Goop Shoe? Good to see you. Lunchtime? What up, Jeremy? It's not lunchtime, man, is it? It's breakfast almost.
Tell Goob I said hello.
Jeremy says hi.
If you can't hear me.
Hopefully you can hear him. Very curious to hear more stories from Telltale employees. Really tough story there. Yeah, we've had a lot of people turn us down to talk to us. But just people don't want to, or they're worried, or they feel like they can't get anything out of it, or they don't trust the media. There's a lot of media distrust has come up so far. But yeah, yesterday's interview was really good. And oh, there's Jack Conte, the owner of Patreon, walking through there. Yeah. You may also know him from the video from the music band Pomplamoose. He did a lot of very interesting music videos. Yeah.
Oh my god.
He is the dude from Pomplamoose, and his wife is the other person at Pomplamoose.
Oh shit.
Anyway, sorry. It's not like I stalk him or anything. Jesus. Yeah, has the Telltale stuff been super negative? It has in some ways, and it hasn't in other ways. We've been focusing a lot on the community of developers and their struggle to find work and the work they did. We talked a lot about like the crunch culture. We talked a lot about the sort of the leadership stuff that wasn't working. So there's definitely like big negative aspects to it. But also we're trying to, I don't know, cover the broad emotional range of that story as much as we can. System Shock 3, it is not System Shock 3. Half of our video is about how it is not the System Shock 3 project. It's the System Shock 1 remake project, and how nobody knows the difference between the two. Even though it's the same, I did not realize it's the same company basically making both of them. Yeah. Well, two different companies, but like the same IP owner who's in charge of both. Which is bananas. Tell Jeremy to show off his cast. He doesn't have a cast.
I have a sock.
He's got a sock. He's got a big swollen foot in there.
1 foot, baby.
Look at that.
Yeah.
My left foot. Is it your left foot?
Yeah.
You should watch My Left Foot. Christy Brown, Daniel Day-Lewis, Oscar nominated. Maybe one. I don't know. Kotaku did an interview with Phil Harrison, and he said they had 4K running at 30 megabytes per second, which is insane. Yeah, I'm sure wherever you can download 30 Mbps, you can get that. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's cool that that's the case. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah. I can't see. Our developers gonna like it's like the PhysX card thing. It's like our developers gonna make like 2 versions of their game, one that runs on consoles, one that runs on people's PCs. Because like unless this thing gets full saturation, we're not going to see that bump in fidelity. It's gonna help people like who want really. It'll help like console users get PC level quality graphics, but I don't think it's gonna move that barrier up any higher. Or like when it comes to ray tracing, maybe it allows people to get access to ray tracing, but like. I don't know, hardcore gamers are just gonna buy PCs, right? And buy consoles. And, like, it's an expensive hobby, but it's like it's not that expensive a hobby. It's an expensive hobby when you're a teenager and but like it sounds expensive as owning a car. I guess you need a car for work though, so that's different. I guess in terms of discretionary income, hobbies, it's high, but also so is like gigabit internet every month, which this thing will need. It's not free. You know what I mean? And you still have to pay for the games. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm a bit negative on it. Jeremy, how are your appendages?
My appendages are okay at best. I think I pushed myself a little hard yesterday walking around, but
workhorse.
Yeah, I'm good.
You the man. We're almost halfway. We'll be halfway at some stage today. Goop says, good to hear from you.
Tell him likewise. Tell me, Goob, if you can hear me. I appreciated the comment on the card, man. Thank you very much. And that goes to anyone else on there who signed or didn't. I love you all.
Gotta wonder if the tech moves the needle in other places outside of games. Yeah, I don't know. What else could there be? I mean, streaming's already killed music, so
yeah,
maybe it'll kill. I don't know. I can't see that happening, but it's telling that like the big tech game companies are way into this. Like, but of course they are, because there's only fucking 6 of them left or something. You're like, you can't. I love Marty Stratton, and it's great to see it out there getting involved in stuff. But like, also, like. These companies can afford to do a lot of this stuff. Like most developers won't be. So you it's not what they're saying, it's what was not being said at that conference that I think is the interesting thing. To your point about people being afraid to talk about Telltale, did you all have any thoughts about the high level of secrecy in the industry? I've always thought it was stifling and scary. I don't know. Like I think developers are among the most like publicly criticized people in like any form of like media. Like outside of like, directors and actors for movies, like outside of that, like you have a lot of people who are I don't know. They have little job security and are constantly being hounded by nasty elements of the internet. So like, I totally get the secrecy. If you mean like corporate secrecy, there's a lot of money involved. So that's another part of it. And also the nature of software engineering is that like ideas like are wrong and broken and change all the time until they're out and done. So like people tend to like we've been working in studios with games that are being developed that still haven't been announced.
Yeah.
And I'm fascinated to see what they come out looking like, because I kind of think that come out looking like half what they were maybe.
Yeah.
Like we don't know. So like people tend to like, I don't know, software changes quite a lot during when it's being developed. So I think that's a big part of it as well. And then just money, right? Just money's a big problem. Let me see. I want to make sure I've got. Okay, let's tell them. I'm going to tell them the address. I'm trying to update everyone with the address and where to go, because the building we're in is like under construction a bit. Take the elevator and ask for us at Patreon reception.
So much for our diffuse light.
Yeah, I knew that was going to
The
happen.
sun has made its
Oh, really?
revenge.
Fuck.
It's all right.
Stupid
It's
sun.
still better.
I'll come closer as well so y'all can see me. Do-do-do-do-do. So yeah, we were talking in 20 minutes, I think.
Cool. I picked the hard drive and SD card from you.
Oh yeah,
No
perfect.
rush.
Where's my bag? Let me get my bag.
Right.
Thanks.
I can walk with the sock on. It's the boot that's killing me.
You can leave your sock on. Yeah, thanks, guys. I got everything updated or backed up yesterday. There you go. We're backed up on double hard drives. Redundancy. Cool. Let him know. Awesome. Whew. The Stadia thing isn't just about getting console players. It's about the 2 billion players or smartphones, Chromecast, and crap laptops. It could fall flat depending on internet speed and dev support. Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to know who these 2 billion people are and whether or not they have access to high-speed internet. Close to data centers. Like Google's got more data centers and more in the world. A lot of these people are in like developing countries or in the subcontinent where most companies don't have good data server infrastructure, whereas like Google do in like Central Africa and North Africa and the Middle East and India, Pakistan, Singapore, Malaysia. So like that stuff's really important, but like I don't know, like the culture of playing games in a lot of these countries is playing mobile games. They don't want to play in those games. Perhaps maybe they don't want to play the laptop games. I'd be interested to know, because it's like Japan. It's like Japan and mobile games in Japan and like playing PC games at LAN cafes and not playing them at home, and being, you know, the prevalence of mobile stuff in a way that like Western audiences don't like, and you know, the prevalence of PC games, for instance, in Eastern Europe, which is tied into a lot to the economic reality of importing machinery. But like now that they can import consoles, do people buy more consoles? Like a little bit, but like mostly it's still PC gamers. So like I'm interested to, like, I think it sounds really good to say like there's all these gamers to unlock, but like I think it's a little bit of a short-sighted or like insincere comment for them to make, because I don't know if like, I don't know, Nigerian gamers are jonesing to be playing Spider-Man on their PC. You know what I mean? Like fucking, maybe they are, but like also maybe they've grown up playing totally different games and they could not give a shit. So like it's an interesting. I like the idea space of it, of like opening up more games to more people for sure. But I think there are some like significant negatives to having Google be the main pipeline for people anywhere in the world playing games. Yeah, and I think their presentation was a lot of them trying to solve problems that aren't as big as they think they are, or like they want people to think that this is the problem that they are definitely best positioned to fix. They are presenting as the biggest problem in games, or like the future of games. And I think that's like, maybe it's true, but isn't it convenient that that's the case, that the thing that they are best suited to fix as a company, as in, so, you know, with their infrastructure, just so happens to be the thing that needs to be fixed. Like maybe it's not. I mean, it's not. But like, you know, so it's hopefully, I don't know what journalists are writing about it, but I'm interested in that. I'm interested to hear what devs talk. We're going to talk to some people here about it. hopefully. Don't question about how many backups do you guys make. It's a ton of footage for high quality. So how do you keep the archives? Ask Ethan. I keep 2 4 terabyte drives that has everything on them. You mostly get rid of your stuff, right? Because I back it up. I double back it up already.
I have a 4 terabyte drive that I bought a few years ago that I sort of just like if I shot something inconsequential years ago, I keep it until I have something newer and better to replace it with. Yeah, mostly just in case I want to like build a new reel, I guess.
Yeah.
Or in case like we need it for something.
But for our projects, it's
for our projects, I just have like 1 hard drive with stuff. But like, yeah, long-term storage is all on me mostly. Yeah.
And for these, I do double redundancy every day, and then you actually have all your stuff because you're bringing your footage away anyway.
Yeah, I back up on my PC and then on a hard drive externally.
Right. Cool. So you have a copy. You have 2 copies. I have 2 copies.
Yeah. Speaking of, I'll bring you a hard drive this week so I can get everything double backed. Like
oh yeah, perfect. Yeah. Do you guys want to grab breakfast or something? Well, I'm thinking we've only got 15 minutes.
Yeah, I'll grab a cup of coffee.
We can always do a bit of lighting when. Yeah. Do you want to grab something?
Yeah.
Cool. I'll follow you out in a bit. I'll answer more questions. Cool. I'm just getting you out of the room so I can shit talk you in front of me.
Yeah. These fucking guys.
I can't believe it.
We missed breakfast yesterday and I felt bad about it. We've only got 1 interview and then a little gap and then we've got 4 in a row. So we need to make sure y'all are fed and watered. Chances are the people who are playing Fortnite on their phones won't care about 4K. They'll be playing Odyssey on their phones at 720p. Yeah, maybe they will be. Or maybe they won't be playing. Yeah, maybe they won't be playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey because they want to play games that are games of service. You know, that's the other thing. Like, do people want to play these games? Maybe they do. Would someone want to play? Like, I can play Fortnite on my phone because it's like game that's over in 15, 20 minutes. Do I want to play Assassin's Creed Odyssey on a phone? Like, maybe some people do. It's just this cookie cutter idea that like it's just an access problem. It's total bullshit. Like, people play games because of the way they like to play games. Like Monster Hunter is popular in Japan because of the genre and the history of the game, but it's also popular because it is a mobile game in an audience in a market where people play mobile games or that type of mobile RPG. And that's not the case in the West. Do people still like to play mobile things? Like, yeah, but maybe not the same way. So I just don't like the cookie cutter, oh, people will play this because of that kind of thing. That's weird. Remember, this is GDC. They're talking to devs. The consumer stuff will come later. I felt like they weren't talking to, like they were talking to devs a bit. Like, I understand that for sure. I don't, like, if they're talking to devs, it was very, like, cloud gaming is not a new idea. Like, nothing about yesterday's presentation was new, except the YouTube integration. This stuff's been around and usable since before OnLive. I mean, we interviewed Jonathan Blow about, before, like 6 years before OnLive, he worked on a cloud-based physics game. Like, this stuff, there's nothing new about this. Developers know the technology, they know the market. So like, most of that presentation was just corporate pageantry. Like, developers know all that stuff. The interesting thing was when they were talking about, there's that one segment where he got a little bit into the nitty-gritty of how the infrastructure was going to work. But mostly they were talking to publishers. I think it was a very business-focused, market-focused, money-focused talk. And it was kind of like, in terms of like details on how the tech works, it was kind of fairly surface level, I felt. So we'll see. I mean, Microsoft are going to do the same thing at E3 probably, so we'll see about that. Yeah, it's nuts. I don't play Diablo on my phone. I play on GOG. Probably play it on phone right now. Probably hack it or something. If I'm playing on the go, I'll get it on Switch. Oh, did I just? Sorry, I almost banned Goob by accident.
Jesus.
So a button just popped up.
Patronage.
Yeah.
Would that be a warning to you?
Talking to devs as a channel of announcing their new product to the entire market, presumably because they need the devs to be excited about developing for the platform. Yeah, they have to convince developers and they have to convince players, and they have to convince publishers to throw money behind it and to throw like a lot of the top of that presentation was, this is how many people use our systems, which is, this is how big our market is. This is all a market exercise for Google. Like, that's the other thing I don't like necessarily about it, is a lot of games development is about people who are in it for all the right reasons. Even people like Sony and folks at Microsoft, like a lot of these departments don't make a lot of money. I mean, Sony's probably the exception at the moment, but a lot of them don't make a shitload of money for them. So whenever there's a tech company coming in who basically tries to forge its way into every microcosm of software engineering, or, you know, and Google have a really terrible track record. Like, they have a very good record of buying established companies that exist in those spaces. But, like, you know, YouTube crushed Google Video, and like there's loads of alternative versions of things that we use today, like Discord and Slack and Skype and all these things that Google attempted and has attempted to be the forerunner in, and they failed over and over and over again. Like, there's loads of this sort of stuff. They're just killing Google. What's the social thing? Google Plus is getting cancelled now. So like they're not this very, they're like very, very successful in some ways, but like when it comes to especially hardware with the phones and stuff, it's all very hit or miss. So yeah, so they're trying to convince publishers, I think, to throw in behind them on this one. But like, and I think a lot will, and I think they'll do it alongside everything else they do, and it'll exist as part of the conversation, and there'll be a certain market for it. And eventually we might get to the stage where we're streaming all that sort of stuff, but it's different in movies. Like, the data cap problem becomes way more difficult with games, and the latency issue, which they can fix. But yeah, it's a weird one. Yeah, it's nuts. What do you think about the trailer / streaming integration? Seems like the marketing team would be all over that. Yeah, I mean, the trailer stuff, that's just a UI, that's a UX thing. That's cool. All the streaming stuff, I just thought was, I don't know, YouTube. Like, I kind of think that in 5 years' time, YouTubers are going to be the lamest people in the world, because they're already super. They're already lame to my generation, our generation, right? We all think most of it is just like shut up, right? Yeah. The generation that grew up with them is now kind of aging up a little bit, so like they're all trying to become a bit more businessy and whatnot. Yeah. What I want to know is, do the generation under them, are they even more irritating than the top ones, or do they go, God, what is this lame shit? Like,
I think everyone goes, what is this lame shit? It's just
yeah, but generationally, I'm wondering whether or not there's a sea change with like perception on that sort of stuff.
Because I feel like in terms of people like doing personal branding and like building a channel and building a personal following, I feel like that things have only strengthened in that direction.
Right.
And I feel like, you know, you see people who are like 18 now that are running a business like around their personal brand.
Yeah.
And so I feel like there's sort of this like both a necessity to do that and also like a shamelessness that comes with it.
Right.
And so I wonder, like, to me, it feels like it's moving more in that direction. But I guess cultural trends are also like a sine wave. Like, maybe it's the rubber band snaps back at some point. They're like, what are we all doing? And
the thing that's happening with streaming at the moment is that like there are less people getting into it. Like, like it felt what happened with streaming. It seemed like was like, oh, we're creating this ecosystem where like everyone can become a star. Yeah. Whereas like no. What happened was that we created an ecosystem. Nobody was a star. A bunch of people filled it, and then no one else can get in. So like, we don't live in a world where there's this like, it's like the false like meritocracy kind of thing. Where like now it's fucking really hard. Like, you all ask about getting into games journalism. Like, getting into games journalism was 5 years before I was getting it was easier. 5 years before that was easier. 5 years after me was harder. Like, it's only got more difficult as like those pipelines have become established, and we just made these pipelines. So like now, I don't know, yeah, play with your favorite streamer. Like, isn't that what they try and stop all the time?
Yeah,
like people playing with them
because
they're getting stream sniped? Yeah. Like, I don't know. That seems like the opposite of what they want. Like, if you're a Fortnite player, you don't want to be 100 other people come in and they all go for you because they're looking at your stream.
Totally. Part of the appeal of the whole thing is that it's limited access, right? Like you're looking in, and
right.
That's kind of how like the businesses run. It's like, you know, don't you wish you could play with me, or like
right,
like that. It's that appeal, that allure. You can just do it with a push of a button, then all that power is gone. Like and all that access, like the access is too open. It's too easy.
You need like some sort of barrier there, maybe. I don't know. Maybe maybe it's smaller. Like, maybe if you're playing with your friends, but like none of my friends stream. Like, I mean, my professional friends do, but like it's not like all my buddies are streaming their gameplay all the time and then like jump into their games. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. We'll see. Like, again, it's another flashy thing that have, you know, MatPat on stage and talk it up, and it's like streaming is important, and they own YouTube, so that's why it's in the presentation, and we have to integrate it in some way. Like, the corporate, you can see the corporate wheels behind this thing. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the best idea. It's just the one that makes the most sense for them. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe people are into that stuff. I don't know. From from an interface perspective, it's cool to be able to just go buy, but like, or play. because they kept having me play. And if I own Assassin's Creed, why the fuck am I watching trailers for it? Like, that made no sense. Like, what are you talking about? I'm gonna watch the trailer. No, I'm not play.
It feels like it's talking to an audience that doesn't play games.
A lot of that presentation was definitely for an audience that doesn't play games, but that's a part of the thing. I think, like, pushing publishers. That was not for gamers. It was for but also, like, was it for business people within games? Because they also know.
Was it for them? Like, that's what I was thinking of. Like, is it just for Google? Like it
was a very strange presentation. It was just like, it felt like watching a Sony, like, not just because Phil Harrison went up, because like it just like
the old school ones,
like all the graphs and stuff, and like weird, like we're talking about games and so like at one stage they had like people have played games for millennia and his chess and stuff, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
I was dying.
I was like
the Mayan ball game, like
totally.
Yeah, that was actually on screen.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
It was like, I think on the Giant Bomb somebody said like, oh, this is like in, Abstergo, which is like the fake in-game video game company, and Ubisoft, like it felt like a parody. It was like, are you guys fucking kidding me? Yeah. Anyway, whatever.
Also, the losing team of the Mayan ball game would be executed.
Great.
Yeah. Just for what it's worth.
Battle Royale.
I think we should bring that rule back.
Yeah. That's better odds than Battle Royale. 50-50 survival rate. That's not bad. We got a couple more minutes, then we got to bounce. Just because we got Echoes coming in, I need to get some food. I'm more interested in the button that takes you from the trailer to the demo of the game. Yeah, that seems interesting. I wonder how they'll do that. Will it be like timed or something? There's a lot of unknowns about this. Sorry for being down on it. I don't trust Google as much as far as I can throw them. Oh yeah, that millennia of games thing felt like the most bullshit.
It was.
Yeah. Digital Foundry did a video on the performance, and the latency will definitely be a fascinating thing. It appears not to be as bad, but who knows? Yeah, latency only, like, it affects different games differently,
They also tested that
online
in Google's network of 200 megabits per second. They mentioned that.
Right, yeah, but they did the stream test with Assassin's Creed, so they have used it in public. But it'll be interesting. The latency issue, I don't think is. There's the idea that if they fix the latency issue, fix this problem, but I think it's not a problem that, like, it fixes our problem with this thing, but I don't think this thing is as big a problem as people are making it to be. There's people in Nova Scotia with PlayStation 4s who can only download one game. There's a guy who emailed Giant Bomb years ago who could only download one game before the winter came in because of his data caps. Like, this thing causes issues. I mean, that's a fringe case. More people are moving into cities, but like, internet's, even in cities, it's a bit of a crapshoot. Welcome to the darkest time when nobody owns a thing. Yeah, exactly. And then the whole thing shuts down. Power goes out, or internet goes down, or you didn't pay your money, or you get a DUI and they take away your internet. I don't know, like fucking police state.
Cut you off from the pipeline, man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's dark.
Yeah.
The supply goes dry.
That's the Galaxy Brain version. Happy first day of spring. Is it really? Punks to Tony Phil.
Is today? I thought it was the 21st. Oh, is that? That's.
I don't know.
Well, did you say shadow or not?
I thought it was the equinox tomorrow, but maybe they're in a different time.
Pagan.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to do my midsummer rituals.
Brilliant. Yeah, we gotta howl at the moon later on tonight.
We're gonna let it go.
If we can see it. Okay, cool. He's coming in now, so we better head. Thanks for hanging out. So today, in case you missed it earlier, we have Chandara from Falcon Age coming in, Jamie Chang, all about Don't Starve from Clay, Tina Sanchez, talk about Apex Legends, and two folks who I won't say their names because I don't think they're well known, and also we're a little bit more sensitive at this one. From Telltale, there are second and third interviews of 4 main ones with ex-employees, and then 2 other ones we're doing too, which is all going to be a whole fun thing. And Jeremy's foot will hopefully be doing really good today.
Yay!
And that's the man's foot. How's your foot?
Perfectly fine. I'm sorry.
Everyone's feet are great. We hope you have a happy foot day. Bye.
International Foot Day.
I can't end the stream because I'm upside down.
Oh my god.